Talk about South Carolina. This is a team that made me some money last year as well. And I thought it was over. They were at what? 6 wins. I needed 7 wins. The over was at 6.5. It was at like plus like 144 or something. I was like, oh, I kind of like the value here. And all of a sudden, they lose a game that they shouldn't have to, was it Missouri? And I'm like, oh man. And then they're headed into the Tennessee week. And I'm like, oh gosh, they only have 6 wins, Tennessee. And then I look next year, I'm like, oh, it's Clemson, of course, because they had on Clemson. I'm like, gosh, I just lost money. They stomped both of those teams. And I cashed, and I guess it wasn't a sweat if you're looking at the record, right? Because it cashed by over a 1.5, or over a win. But gosh, that's crazy that happened. But what's wild though is that they lost so much from that team last year, like a lot. Cam
especially
Smith, Zach
defensively.
Pickens, Darius Rush, Jordan Birch, and yeah, just to name a few, man. Just name a few. Now, of course, offensively, they get Spencer Rattler, Antoine Wells. But they also lose Jaheim Bell to Florida
Florida
State.
State. Marshawn Lloyd at USC.
Marshawn Lloyd to USC, who was way underrated in terms of his value for that team. He just got the yards when he needed them, right? I mean, the stats weren't there collectively for the entire season, but when they needed him, like when they needed him against A&M, he was there. Let me tell you. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, look, they got. I don't know, man. I look at this, and it hurts me to say this, but like I think I lean under here. I think I do.
I do too. And I wanted to take the under, and it's not because of how I feel about Shane Beamer, and it's not because of how I feel about the program South Carolina's heading in. It's not even how I feel about the team. I think the team's kind of pretty good. That schedule is brutal. I mean, UNC is not an easy out for them, especially with all the replacements they're gonna have to do defensively, and having to go get Drake May out of the gate and then finish off with Clemson. And hopefully, by week 13, if you're a Clemson fan, like Garrett Riley has your offense cooking, and obviously your defense will be pretty good no matter what. But I don't know, man. I see a lot of losses. I see a lot of tough games. I don't know. The problem is like you could pick like the fun part about South Carolina is you could pick them to go 6-6 or 7-5, but you have zero chance of guessing, okay, which games are wins and which games are losses, because they're going to shock some teams, because they're going to, with the potential Spencer Rattler, he could just light up a team, like you can go to Texas A&M or go to at Tennessee and just like, light them up like he did the past 2 years. I think Georgia, that'll be tough week 3. At week 3, I don't know if you I'm going to give them much of a chance to win that game, but yeah, I don't know. Antoine Wells, it's kind of a beast. I'm glad he's coming back. He finally wants to produce. Like, you saw the highs last year, the last couple games, but you want him to do that for the whole season. And that's why he's back to raise his draft stock. Even Nichols Harbor is a guy that you have to look out for because of his athleticism and his talent there. And they got some other guys, Eddie Lewis, right? Xavier Leggett is back, and he's pretty talented as well with the ball in his hand. They got some young guys too. It's a good group. Even after you lose Jaheim Bell at tight end / running back, whatever he played for him, Trey Knox comes in. Marcus Joshua Simon's a guy that they like as well. They got 2 tight ends. O-line is the question mark here, which is why I do lean under. I think they lost a good amount. They had a serious knee injury with Jalen Nichols at left tackle. Super sad to see him go down in the spring game. But people coming back, Eric Douglas, Javon Gwynn at guard, or actually no, those guys you got to replace. I'm sorry, but some young guys you got to plug and play, maybe before they're ready, and that's definitely not something you love, at your offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, so if you were to take the under 6.5, right, the problem is it's juiced like minus 170, right? So you wouldn't really realistically take that unless you were like, okay, it's actually free, but it's not, right?
Yeah,
but
I'm just leaning.
If you want a better number and you outline it to 6 in some places, I know DraftKings has got it at 6. You can get that at plus 105. If that does interest anyone out there. Not something I'm taking necessarily, but I don't hate that at all. Like this team is talented enough to make a bowl game, but like the schedule again is brutal. This is like a 7-win team with a 5-win schedule. Like I've said. I mean, come on. So yeah, everything you said, I agree with. I think special teams luck, well, luck, skill, but special teams, some of it balls bouncing right certain ways. I had to deal with it as an A&M fan. So uh, if some of those balls start bouncing in different ways than they did for South Carolina, I think maybe they don't win some of those games that they did, right? I mean, they forced a lot of turnovers on special teams, a lot of them, and it really helped them win some games. It won games that they were not expected to win, especially. So I'm love Shane Beamer. I've said it before. I really like this program. And I took their over last year, and I took their over the year before that. So South Carolina fans, don't hate me. All right, do not hate me. All right. I also love your recruiting class. So don't
Yep.
think like this is the end of the line here, right? Oh no. But like you guys have a good recruiting class. So there's a lot to look forward to for South Carolina. Like with this new SEC look, the way it's gonna look, I'm glad that you guys are at where you're at and not where you were, before Shane Beamer.
Yeah, and the only thing that yeah, like you said, the future's bright. I think even post Spencer Rattler, I think is it Lenore Sellers or who's the freshman that came in and is playing really really well for you guys. The only thing that disappointed me a little bit is last year. I was really excited about your transfer class. I thought you brought in some high impact guys, and this year it was almost the other way around, where you lost a guy like Jordan Birch, Marshawn Lloyd. I a little bit upset that they didn't go after the transfer portal as hard or didn't have as much success as they had last year with the transfer portal, especially after a year of success and the high that they rode out on with beating Clemson and Tennessee. So we'll see. I think Mark Satterfield gone is definitely an upgrade there. I think he didn't really fit with Rattler, and we kind of saw that at the end of the year. There's rumors that he didn't even call the Tennessee and Clemson game, which Spencer Rattler had a great game against. So we'll see what Dow Loggins
Yeah.
does. Hopefully, he makes it a little bit more simple, a little bit more consistent for Spencer Rattler and company there, because I think the potential is there with that skill group and Rattler's arm. We'll see if the O line holds up. Yeah.